continuing with rule number 5, and our hope that they get more concise and keep nice and short each time. So don't play in a way that makes you hate games. Nothing's gonna short circuit your long-term goals more than investing in your time in a way that is just like, forget it. Like you don't want to do it. Playing the game in a way that makes you hate it. And man, games really can fight you on this stuff. Destiny is a game that constantly battles in at least 2, if not 3 directions in its attempt to keep you on the hook, but have good gameplay, but also the third direction being you like the grind and the hook fight with efficiency versus either one of those. So the game is like fun and you want to play it, so you go on a strike and you're fighting stuff and you're killing it, and yeah, this is great. And then you have to keep playing strikes week after week and doing 3 of them on all 3 characters to get your rewards. And suddenly, because you're doing, the more you have to do it, the more efficient you become, so you stop playing it in the fun way, and then this triangle just fights, and then there could be even more to it. Each triangle could have some of its own triangles inside it, but they also then codify weird things that relate to the previous discussions about comparing yourself to yourself yesterday and not the world, because they started doing things like this. They saw people were like soloing content, and then they didn't just say like, oh neat, you soloed it. They put things in the game that were like, if you solo it, we'll give you this thing. And they tried to defend it with certain phraseologies and just saying like, hey, look, it's not necessary. You only get cosmetics out of it, or a little like title or something, but it's a thing in the game and you want to earn it, and it's a game about earning things. Just brutal. You don't want to grind? Don't grind. You do want to grind? Do grind. Just make sure you know what you want to do. You can also step this out to more meta level of gaming. Sometimes a sequel comes out and you're like, this sequel is just like BS, man. Like, you're asking us to just move over to your sequel when you could stay here and maybe add DLC or like explore and expand what you have. The world kind of changed. It's super. They used to be like they had to release a sequel in order to play it if you were playing on like Nintendo or whatever you want to call it, like 8-bit Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Before the internet, there needed to be a sequel if there was going to be more. Or, well, not 100%. I mean, there was PCs and stuff, but I think you'll follow me here. Sequel bait, sequel for sequel's sake, like that doesn't have to exist. People fought DLC when it was becoming codified, and the idea of like horse armor and stuff in Onimusha is like famous. But now I like to think about DLC sometimes as just, I want to give the people that made something I like more money. I often buy my games on sale or discount, and then sometimes I'm like my general budget is about $20-$25 cap. I will spend like $40. I have spent $100. But if I spend like $10 on a game, and then I'm like, you know what, like, this was a really good game and it has some cosmetic DLC, which is not something I'm normally into, but I want to give them more money, I'll buy the DLC. It's like a tip jar. The sequels stuff, there was something here about pre-order. I think I'm just going to skip it. Games also started having more meta things that I'm still pretty into, and sometimes to a degree where I lose interest when they're gone, and that would be trophies or achievements. Sometimes I sit down to play a game, and that would all be like, the game can be like pretty fun, but if there's also sort of a long-term tail, a trail of breadcrumbs that says, if you do this, we'll give you these achievements, and then you'll have those on your account, and then people will know, like, hey, this guy at least is that good at this game, because he has that achievement, and you in that world, you'll know what it means. Like if he's got the platinum, it's like, yeah, he probably knows what he's talking about when you start talking about the game. I will also say that like sometimes it's like a lot more macro level of just playing the game. Like sometimes you're playing the game and you're not having fun, and that's something I'm not great at. Just knocking it off and not doing. Like stopping playing when I'm just like I'm a little burned out. It happened earlier today with Yakuza Like a Dragon. I was like, I'm not really like feeling it right now, and I kind of like I thought to myself like, well, yeah, take a break. I mean, I'm probably playing it too much. Fine. But a lot of times I'm like, what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna keep playing. I'm also very bad at playing like multiple games at once. Right now, I'm sort of splitting my time between EDF and Yakuza, but really, I'd rather be playing Yakuza by myself, and then I'd rather be playing EDF with my crew. So, a person I think is actually really good at this is Cray. He's been on the several videos in the site before, but Crazy Cray GC8, he'll be playing a game. If it gets kind of frustrating and he doesn't enjoy it, he stops playing. And I'm like, oh, amazing, because sometimes I just would just keep playing. It wouldn't stop me. So there are people who are like, this is a rule where I'm much better at it than the previous rules we were talking about, where I'm not so good at it. But I think Cray's even better at it than me. So it's important. I took a firm stance. Another reason I picked Destiny 2 as the background video here is as the game just slowly became this weird like 3 months reset like thing. Forget it. Like I noped out, and I talked to people, and I tried to see if there was anything that could be done to alleviate a lot of the little problems around the game that were adding and combining to the actual game problems, like where the game was going. It didn't seem like that was going to be a thing. Like we couldn't correct it. I couldn't get Dag on board with like correcting some of the problems I was having, and so I just stopped playing the game. And I still have an interest in it. I still have an interest in like the story. I have all kinds of interests in this game, but yeah, I had to stop because it kind of overwhelmed everything in my life, and I didn't. It made me hate the game. Playing the game made me hate the game, and I'm like, oh, I have to stop playing it. And it was necessary with the way the game was going to continue to play it in a way that made me hate it. And I was like, I don't want to just keep forever hating this stupid game. So, like, just called it. Even though it's a good example of I had $100 in a pre-order, and I may have never even launched it during that season that hit. That $100 pre-order hit, and I don't think I even launched the game. I might have launched it once just as like a joke with Cray when he was like kind of checking it out. But all right, guys. So that's a pretty good length. It's a little longer than I thought it would be. I thought it would be even shorter because this one's pretty cut and dry. It's just like if the game is making you hate it, either stop playing it or like think about approaching it differently. That's another thing too. It doesn't have to be like this either or like end of the world thing. You can just be like, maybe I need to stop worrying about what other people think of my power levels and character and and just enjoy the game on its own merits and in a way that you do enjoy it. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop doing all that crap that we've been going over. Let's say that tomorrow we're gonna take one that's a little more aggressive in asking you to think about what's going on in moment-to-moment game stuff. It's going to be sometimes it isn't the fault of the game. You can have all kinds of thoughts of like, this is fucked up, this game is bad, this is and it's like, maybe those are right, maybe they're wrong, and then we'll talk about the cases and how you approach your analysis of whether what you're spouting is true and whether it's the game and whether it's you. All right, guys, thanks. Like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. It really helped me out. All right, see you later.